Ladies and gentlemen, Halloween is almost here. Do you want to sit there and keep looking like a complete idiot? No! Go to sagrollapparel.com and use code SPOOKY to get 15% off your order. And get this Halloween sweater now because it's only for a limited time. Get it now. You guys ever had that memory of a show that's kind of like hanging in your back lobe? You know, there's got to be a back lobe. If there's a frontal lobe, there's got to be a back lobe. Am I right? It's hanging out in your back lobe. You completely forget about it for years upon years. Then all of a sudden you randomly stumble upon an image that just bursts everything back into your frontal lobe. That's how brains work, I know. Well, I don't think I've had more of an experience like that than when it comes to Scary Godmother. The other day, I just stumbled upon an image of a kid wearing the red devil costume with the blonde hair, and it just all came back to me. And if you don't remember this movie, the one thing you probably will remember from this movie is just the animation alone, because all I could say is it's very, very interesting, I guess. But for those who don't know, this movie ended up playing all the time at Halloween on Cartoon Network. And honestly, I don't really remember what happens in the movie or even what the movie's about. I just knew that I saw this movie a lot.
I helped with the glitter.
Really? My mom doesn't let me touch glitter. Not since that incident with the glue and the dog.
What the dog doing?
And it doesn't seem like it's just me. I've seen so many comments of people completely raving about this movie, saying it's the greatest thing of all time, like the most nostalgic thing ever. So I felt obligated to talk about this. What is this movie? I want to revisit my childhood. And for those who aren't aware, this actually was based off of a book, or should I say a book series created by Jill Thompson. And if you look at Jill Thompson, you could already see the similarities between her and Scary Godmother. And her books were adapted into 2 movies. Now today we're just going to be covering Scary Godmother Halloween Spooktacular because that's the one I saw when I was a kid, and I'm sure most of you saw that too. Now when I started to re-watch this, I went in a little bit skeptical because it starts off leading on that it's going to be one of those boring kids movies. You know, not one of those kids movies that you can also enjoy as an adult, but like a very kiddie movie where I was just kind of like, oh, is this gonna be boring? Not gonna lie, I was like 5-10 minutes in and I almost gave up on the movie. Well, by golly gee willikers dangles, let me tell you something, baby. I am so glad I stuck with this movie. This movie is so fucking good. It has no right to be this good, especially when it looks like that. I actually found myself audibly laughing. I'm an adult, okay? I don't laugh. The most I do is just a little bit of a nose exhale. You know, I don't really laugh. That's funny. But this shit good, man. I'm telling you. This is one of those movies that makes you want to go camp and sit around a campfire and tell scary stories. You know, it's cozy, it's fun, but man, is it uncomfortable. You know, there's mosquitoes and shit. Who even goes outdoors, honestly?
Did someone say camping?
Oh my God, it's outdoorsman Jeremy, the greatest outdoorsman to ever live.
I came over here to make sure you're getting all the necessary supplies you need to go on a camping trip with yours truly.
Wait, whoa. I wasn't planning on going on a camping trip with you.
Oh, don't you fret your little heart right there. I already got all your underwear packed. Just the underwear.
Okay, I'm gonna need a little bit more than that if we're going camping.
Well, that's what you think, but outdoorsman Jeremy always comes prepared with all the necessary supplies with Bespoke. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club that delivers top-of-the-line goods with under-the-radar brand.
Okay, honestly, I think we're starting to glaze over the fact that you raided my underwear drawer and put my underwear in a bag. Could we talk about that?
They purchase 90% of the products in their boxes from small businesses, most of them located around the U.S. Like this gut hook knife right here. It comes in the trail box and it was made by Titan International, located right here in lovely Illinois. I also received their Terra package with a bird call, detox scrub bar, and this endlessly functional award-winning field knife, baby. And they also sent me the Carnivore set with this beautiful laser-cut, hardened, tempered, high-carbon stainless steel meat cleaver. And all of that we can be storing comfortably in a nice handcrafted weekender handbag. You can store all your essentials, baby, all of that. Oh, look what's in there. And if you want to know how to get 20% off your first box, click that link in the description. All you gotta do is enter code Bionicpig20. That's bspk.me/Bionicpig20 and get 20% off these beautiful items at Bespoke. You ready to go camping?
So say if you're someone watching and you haven't seen this movie when you're a kid, trust me, I want you to stick with this, okay? Look, I know the animation looks like all of those bootleg movies combined, but baby, let me tell you, it's worth it. So the movie starts out with Daryl and Katie. Daryl is dressed up as a piece of candy for Halloween, and Katie is dressed up as a kitty cat. And just a little tip while watching this movie, don't look into their eyes. Don't look into those soulless, broken eyes. It's not worth it. Don't do it. And then we meet Bert, who is a baseball player riding in a Humvee. And then we meet the biggest asshole in all of cinema, Jimmy, who's dressed as the devil, ironically. And then we meet Hannah, who's the only human in the entire show that they decided to give actual eyeballs and not soulless black dots. So basically, Jimmy's job tonight is to watch Hannah, who is his niece. And the entire time, all he's doing is complaining and whining that he has to watch her. And so he decides to just scare the living shit out of her. Because in the beginning, we can see that she is terrified of all monsters. So Jimmy ends up scaring Hannah by mentioning that there's going to be monsters out tonight. So she freaks out and starts flashing a flashlight around. And then they have a little bit of a self-aware flashback reenactment, which I think is hilarious. So we find out that Hannah's parents gave that flashlight to her in order for her to scare off monsters. You know, telling a kid that your flashlight beats monsters, they'll start believing it. So Jimmy gets the brilliant idea to ditch his niece and make her run home. What a good person. And his crew's later like, well, I mean, she's kind of slow and small, so I guess we could get more candy without her. So they all kind of just agree to scare the living shit out of this little girl in order to get her to run away and they could get more candy. So they convince Hannah to go into this creepy house and make up the story about how she needs to feed monsters candy or they'll like kill every kid in the world or some shit. So she goes in there and he just locks her in there. So obviously she freaks the F out while he and his gang are laughing that he's bullying this little girl. God, what a day. So she starts bawling her eyes out. Then Scary Godmother comes out and she does a little meme where she makes 3 different entrances because she wasn't paying attention to her, you know, to make it more glamorous.
Maybe you got rid of that old yee ass haircut you got.
And so the Scary Godmother's like, hey, I'm your Scary Godmother. I know monsters. I'm gonna kidnap you. So she kind of just yoinks Hannah and brings her to her house. So this whole section of the movie is kind of Hannah getting introduced to monsters, and then she freaks out initially, and then she starts realizing, oh, these monsters aren't really that bad. Now the first monster she meets is Scully, who is a skeleton in the closet. Now I know that's just one layer of joke, right? Skeleton in the closet, you know, like people have skeletons in the closet and that's where he lives. It also adds another layer by the fact that he is very, very flamboyant and fabulous, I would say. Kind of a stereotype of someone being in the closet, if you know what I mean. That's kind of a 2-tier layer cake of a joke. And I just want to mention, Skelly is awesome. Honestly, Skelly is probably my favorite character in this movie, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my, Scary Godmother. Sorry to be so late, but I just had to get these old bones bleached for the party.
So Skelly tells Hannah that they're planning on having this big party with a bunch of monsters. So we cut back to Jimmy and his gang, and they look a little bit concerned because obviously, you know, Hannah hasn't come out yet. And we get a little bit of an awkward section where Katie almost kisses Daryl. It was weird.
Breaker, we've lost contact with Katie and Daryl. Please advise Houston, over.
Bert, nobody puts CBs in SUVs these days.
You just left your baby cousin to the mercy of killer monsters on Halloween night, and you're concerned with the additions and upgrades in my cardboard SUV?
Good point.
And the next one we meet is Harry, who's also a pretty hilarious character. Hannah obviously freaks out, screams monster, and then Scary Godmother says only to his mother. Wow. Wow. And Harry's whole shtick is he just kind of eats literally everything.
Where are those wonderful smells emanating from? The goodie plate, I believe. You won't mind if I just sample the delicacies, do you?
No!
And so pretty quickly, Hannah kind of gets over the scariness of Harry, just like she's going to do with every monster. Then we meet Count Max, Ruby, and Orson, and they're just, you know, basically Dracula vampires, you know, that whole thing. And then the last one is Bugaboo, and Bugaboo is probably like the scariest out of the bunch, I guess. By that, I mean his lips curl up into like it's just, I don't like it. I don't know why it bothers me that his lips are like connected to like a mustache. It's weird.
Take a deep breath.
So she's like having the party with the monsters. She likes all the monsters. They're all cool and all that shit. And Jimmy's kind of just losing his shit, which begs the question, why doesn't he just open the door? He's been standing in front of the house for probably an hour. Why doesn't he just open the door and check? So for some weird reason, I assume it's because Jimmy's just scared as shit. They all decide to just stay outside anyway, even though they've literally missed all of Halloween and just won't look inside to check if she's okay. And then we get a little part that I find hilarious. So we go back to the house and we see Count Max complaining that his wife's ankles are showing. You know, back in his day, you know, we didn't show any ankles. You know, we didn't show any of that shit.
Ravishing, yes. Beautiful, of course. But her ankles, really? 1 century it is corsets and bustles, and the next thing you know, it's platforms and miniskirts.
God, dude, I love Skelly, I'm not gonna lie. Then we get a part where Count Max is self-conscious and has anxiety about talking to people at parties. So we get to a part where Bugaboo and Hannah kind of have a little bonding moment where they both like olives and cheese on their pizza. And then we have a self-aware part where Harry jumps in and says,
Well, I'm sure this Jimmy/monster discussion is imperative to the plot. Can we get back to something that is really important? Like ordering pizza?
honestly, just like the dialogue all between the monsters and Hannah, like throughout this entire section right here, is just great. I love every second of it. So anyway, Jimmy and his gang still not opening the door to figure out what the hell happened to his niece. Hannah and all the monsters and Scary Godmother devise a plan in order to scare the shit out of Jimmy. So we get a hilarious part of them all doing bad acting in order to scare them, because they're trying to make Jimmy believe that the flashlight in the beginning that Hannah was saying would stop monsters can actually stop monsters. So Hannah just shines the light in all of their faces and they just act out their death, which every single time it's honestly hilarious. And once again, Scully just wins the show.
Goodness, what a harsh light. Gak, I expire. No, not the light of a little lamp. I cannot stand.
Nor can I. I wither. I burn. Oh yeah, ouch! Oh!
And after all of them die, Harry ends up standing in the doorway and just being Harry, because the entire time he kind of ruined everything. He overacts the entire thing to the point where literally everyone is just telling him to get it over with.
Look how that light radiates into my countenance! It is too much for me and my pithy soul. The light burns! It burns worse than the worst burn ever! Oh, mercy me! Is this the end of poor Harry? It seems so. Goodbye, Mother. I can see a long tunnel with a bright light. I move towards the light. No, all right. I die. I flail. Then I die.
And then in the end, Jimmy gets terrified as shit and asks Hannah to hold his hand because he's scared, but obviously he's playing it up like he's not scared. And that's kind of how the movie ends. Honestly, for Halloween, like, this movie is just like the perfect combination of Halloween things. It's such like a good, fun watch. There's nothing like too complicated about it. It's cut and dry. You know, it's a kid show, but it's fun. It's funny. I like, honestly, all of it. Now, sure, yeah, the animation's pretty, garbage. But honestly, I think this is a nice, fun little movie to have on Halloween. Well, thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's kind of a shorter one. This was definitely a shorter movie, but I just really felt obligated to talk about this movie because everyone was asking about it and everyone was talking about it. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.